I love second chances. I mean, that's part of what we get in the movie business, right? You get to do multiple takes, and you get to do reshoots if you don't. I mean, so this is probably the ultimate in reshoots, because I'm like, the movie's got its out. I'm like, it's not right. And can we go back and I want to, I know there's a better way to do this, and I was given the opportunity to do it. And Lauren actually lived through me being like wanting to go back, because even in season 1, when it was all done and getting ready to go, I was like, Lauren, could we maybe go back and reshoot something? And
I was pregnant at the time, and he literally put me in labor. It's not even, I'm not kidding. We had this conversation. I was like, hey,
that's a good headline, by the way.
Actions.
I was like, if you write these pages, I'll get the money. We'll go reshoot this. And then next thing I know,
I'm like, sorry,
she's in the hospital giving birth, and no new pages.
Yeah.
And you know what? I guess season 1 didn't need it.
Yeah.
So maybe that was a good thing.
Yeah, it was good.
You finished it.
Worked out well.
What can we expect from season 2?
So season 2 is an evolution from season 1, obviously, but we try to keep, season 1 dealt so heavily with Henry's sexual assault, and we always linked her teleportation powers to her assault, so what she was experiencing emotionally always had a purpose behind it. We keep with that sense, but I think we evolved into like a larger, deeper conversation about trauma. We have more action, but it's always still based on her emotional situation that she's experiencing. She starts out extremely chaotic, of course, and we just introduce a lot more characters. We open up the world a lot more. It's still the same show, and it still takes place in Reston, but it's I think evolved in a really cool, interesting way.
I would like to know what was the toughest part about going into season 2 after season 1, and maybe there was an arc that like you were struggling to figure out what to do within season 2.
I think there was a lot of struggle.
There was, I mean, I think creatively, you're always like pushing and pulling and trying to figure out the best way to tell a story. I think for me, it's always, how do we make sure that we keep the tone of season 1 and keep what I love about season 1, which is slower storytelling, like digging deeper into the characters, but still like adding more twists and turns and like really elevating it and changing it. The thing you always fear, I think, after having a successful season 1 is that sophomore slump idea, because critics and everybody are just waiting to see you fail or flop. I try to drown all that out, because for me, it's like, let's make a show that we love, that we care about, that we can stand behind, that we're passionate about. And so I think, leading with that, it led to a really successful season.
No, and it really was a lot. I mean, Lauren and I were really at it. We were really butting heads, figuring out season 2, and because we both were just coming at it with, like, not ego, but passion and, things we were bringing to the table that, I was fixated on things like, can you go to, given the sort of her age, it was like, do you take the SAT and like, do you apply to college if you have a superpower or don't you? And Lauren had things she was passionate about, and we were like, it was a very dynamic situation, and Lauren was, I love strong people. I love strong characters on screen, and I love working with strong people, and I've never worked with a stronger writer than Lauren, who like really, you may not remember this, but put me in my place when
I remember.
we were arguing over a scene, and I was like, she was like, I want to write it this way, and I was like, I don't know how to direct it if you write it that way. Something like, and Lauren was like, don't ever do that. Don't ever say that again. Don't ever do that to me or any writer ever again. And I was just like, you're right. That was a dick move. And, and I guess.
Getting good insight.
And I guess she is, she's a new mother. So she was, learning that how to discipline.
I'm using you before I raise my son. I'm like,
before your son can really, stand up to you. You're practicing on me.
No, but it's like.
But she really, you put me in my place, and you were like, because it was a dick move, and you got your way, and the world's better for
beautiful.
that.
So I just have a question. In season 1, there was a lot of spectacle. You had the scene, it was in the bathroom that I really loved the way that was constructed. The part where she busts out of the trunk, all stuff like that, the part with the Corey. And I'm wondering, what made you think about the way that you did those scenes? And how much freedom did you have working with YouTube on constructing the show? Also, like, for season 2, should we expect stuff of that scale?
Well, bigger scale. Because I really wanted the powers to be grounded and think about, and that led to the idea that, like, Clay would get injured because he was so close to her, and that sort of created a whole storyline. And so, I'm really interested in sort of outrageous things, but then the details of how those outrageous things would really happen, and that really informed how we constructed the sequences. And then Lauren and her staff, writers, took that and just ran with it. And so I'm saying, like, I had an idea of like how to be disruptive with a show, and my horizon was like this, and she showed me like how much more disruptive we could be and how much further we could go with things like my view of how to do visual effects and all the ways in which, if you ground teleportation, the outrageous things you can do with it.
I mean, Doug set such a good tone in terms of the pilot that, like, any director that came in, really, we took that and it's like, this is the visual style of the show, and like, this is how we do action sequences, this is how we do visual effects. They're very grounded, they're very chaotic, they're very physical. And so every director that would come into the show, like, always used Doug's, like, the foundation.
Or went way beyond it. Like, Mersey got nominated for Directors Guild Award.
Our producing director, Mersey Almas, she's our producing director of season 2. She did the finale of season 1, and she got nominated for an award.
I've never been nominated for an award.